watching 5-Star Live. East Tennessee's #1 post-game high school football show. Live on location from the biggest game of the week. Live interviews from the winning coaches and players, along with highlights from other big games from around Tennessee. Your host, Jesse Smithy, with decades of experience covering high school sports, and his 5-star preps team will update you on games as they become final, and will break down region outlooks and what's to come for your favorite football teams and top players. Now, get ready for the most comprehensive high school football coverage in Tennessee on 5-Star Live.
All right, everybody, welcome in to 5-Star Live, Week 5 edition, live at South-Doyle High School, where the Cherokees just finished off a 60-20 win over Sevier County. When you hear that, Clark Duncan, head football coach at South-Doyle, 60-20, did you see it coming out and being this way tonight?
Well, obviously not. But we felt like that we have grown so much as a football team. We knew coming into the season we were going to be good defensively. We had to grow some offensive linemen. It took us a couple of weeks to realize that we needed to make some changes in some other areas, one of those being Sean Gary. Mm-hmm. Sean Gary's stepped in and rushed for over 200 yards tonight, and but he's become a great player for us. But, it all starts up front. Again, your question, no, we didn't expect it to be that. But we did expect that if we played well, we'd win. Yeah.
Was there any concern with the emotion of last week? And that emotion, we had you on 5-Star Live on the Waffle House hotline. Right. You're fired up. You're emotional. There's a tendency to oftentimes have a letdown after a big win like that.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that, because that was huge. The comeback, the emotion, and just how do kids handle that and, handle the success. And I think that the thing that we preached all week long about how important that was, but how we've got to build on it and be good and be better this week. And our kids responded. We had a great week of practice. We're starting to really grow up a lot. We got some maturity on the team. We're really excited about where we're at and getting ready for next week.
I look at the stats tonight. I see 493 yards of total offense. I see Sean Gary with 16 carries for 206 yards, 4 touchdowns. And I think back to 2 weeks ago or 2 or 3 weeks ago at Grace Christian, and the offense kind of looked lost. It didn't have an identity. And just how far has this team come in that time frame?
Like you and I were talking, and everybody can use this excuse because we didn't have those preseason scrimmages. And so Sean started out as a receiver. In fact, he wasn't even getting on the field. He was a backup receiver, just struggling a little bit on routes and that type of thing. But really, he was a running back as a young guy. We felt like it, but that game taught us a lot. It taught us some things that we needed to rethink what we were doing, readjust some personnel. Not any really major things, but I think we were humbled. I think we got beat by a good football team, but we were humbled because I think that we all certainly, myself as well as our staff, underestimated, didn't prepare like we should have. And I take that responsibility on me. But at the end of the day, that loss, I think, changed us.
Jared, go ahead and roll the highlights of tonight's game, and I'm going to continue talking to you about Sean Gary. How do you find Sean Gary? I mean, like you mentioned, he's out there at receiver. I saw him in the preseason as a guy out in the secondary. Do you just come into practice someday and say, okay, guys, open competition at running back? Or do you say, okay, I think this guy might be able to do it?
Well, what happened week 2, we had one of our running backs, Tawan Owens, number 27, that got to play tonight, got injured. And so that created some problems for us. And then, we said, Terrell Brown, he's a very athletic, big kid. So we said, well, let's, and we knew that Sean Gary was an athlete. And I said, well, let's just stick him back there and let's see what he can do. And from day one, I mean, it took a little adjustment for him to, find those holes and understand what the scheme looked like from the running back position. But once he saw it and really worked hard at it, Coach Kidd's done a great job with him, preparing him. And so from that point on, it was just, with him, Terrell, and then now Tawan back, just really makes us so much better.
But you see highlights of him. He moves and he looks like a natural running back.
Well, yeah, he does. I mean, we had one he looks kind of like a guy we had last year.
He was pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
But Sean just, he just as an 8th grader, he was big time in our community. They left town his freshman year, moved out of state. came back mid part of his fresh sophomore year, so he's just kind of lost in the shuffle because we were very experienced last year, so he didn't get a lot of playing time. But we saw some bright spots in him in some JV games. But yeah, I mean he's just natural. I mean I want to say that we found a gem, but we should have found him sooner. But it is the course of the of figuring things out and not having those scrimmages and but thank goodness we found him early.
They were able to kind of make it a little bit of a game in the first half. I think cut it to 26-13, and right. Your guys just kept seeming to put on more steam, as they say around these parts.
We did. I think one of the things was happening is we were letting I tell you, their quarterback is a special kid. But what was happening a lot is we were getting at different levels. Our defensive ends, our jack linebacker, Terrell Brown and Levi, they were getting upfield so fast, and then our defensive line, was not wasn't setting the edge fast enough, and so we created some run lanes for them. And they did a good job of finding those, and then they hit a couple passes on us. But we settled down, we after the first two scores that they got after that, we settled down and played some great defense.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, Terrell, I tell you what, he's just a phenomenal athlete. He's a workhorse in practice. He's a great team leader. He's really grown up in our program.
That's what you call getting mossed.
Yeah.
So just a fantastic play there by Terrell and Preston Sisler. Little juke move here. That guy's ankles probably aren't good right now. I mean, that guy's got a lot of ability in Preston Sisler.
Preston is really a baller. I'm telling you, last week, we're down 14-0, and he takes an interception for about 80 yards. We've always known that he was, but he's a gamer. He finds a way to get the ball, and then he does things with his feet. He's fast. He's a competitor. Great young man.
You guys put the student section down there through a little bit of a workout. I mean, they do push-ups after every score, and they got a bunch tonight.
Yeah, we may have to put some of them in pads if they keep getting big like they are right now.
Yeah, and then final score of the night. But going ahead and looking forward with this football team, I always ask this with the coaches up here. What's next for South-Doyle in terms of what you want to see growth-wise?
Well, we want to continue with the same type of intensity we have in practice, same focus, understand that there are goals ahead of us that you got to go one day at a time. Our sports psychologists preach that. We can't think about next week's game. We got to think about next play before we even think about the next practice. Those are important to us. We've got to continue to find depth. The season's a long season. We hope to get deep into the playoffs, and so we've got to continue to grow players.
Well, Coach, I'll give you a fist bump. Congratulations on the win. Let's go ahead and pass that mic to Sean Gary.
Come here, Sean.
Sean Gary, 16 carries tonight, 206 yards and 4 touchdowns. Obviously the MVP of the game. Sean, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to get you. Well, make sure you hold that mic up there and just tell me about your evolving into a running back. Is this a position that you'd had a lot of experience with in the past? I mean, Coach said you were kind of a big deal in middle school. Did you play running back then?
Yeah, I played a lot of running back in my middle school days.
So, but I mean, I came out in the preseason. I saw you working in the secondary as maybe a safety, and Coach said you're kind of getting looks at receiver. When y'all were kind of searching for a running back, did you come forward and say anything, or like how did you wind up back there?
I was just in school, and Coach Duncan called me to the office. He was like, "Well, Mr. Gary, you're going to play running back this week." I'm like, "Okay, I'm ready." So,
I mean, what did you think about that? I mean, did you get excited? Did you get hyped walking out of there? Did you start texting people?
No, I ain't texting anybody, but I was hyped.
So when I don't know if you're looking at yourself on the screen while those highlights are running, but just now that this offense is going, how excited is the locker room again? Because I'm sure y'all were pretty down after that Grace Christian loss.
I mean, we took a step back, took a couple forward, I mean, our locker room keeps us up, has us hype in the games, stuff like that.
To look at your offensive line, there's some big boys up there. The holes are up there, and some guys that can kind of move it. Just how much does that make you feel comfortable going into each and every Friday night? It
makes me confident, because as I'm getting the ball, I'm seeing holes develop, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit this one, and I'm going. Are there parts of your game when you go back and watch film that you kind of cringe at and say, "Oh man, I got to do better at that"? What do you see as areas of improvement for Sean Gary? Yeah, so when I first started playing running back, I was like not getting in the right holes and stuff. Had to work on that in practice. Come back the next week, do better.
Well, Sean, I want to wish you congratulations on being our player of the game, over 200 yards rushing, and keep it going, all right?
Thank you.
All right, that's Sean Gary, running back from South-Doyle High School. Hey, each and every week we do a trivia question on 5 Star Live, and we like to give away a prize, and tonight's trivia question has to do with the guy that was just up on set a minute ago. Jared, go ahead and roll tonight's trivia question.
Gold Star Nutrition presents East Tennessee High School Trivia. If you know the answer to the question, tweet it and use the hashtag 5StarLive, and you could win a free cryotherapy session and a $25 gift card from Gold Star Nutrition. Tonight's trivia question is, which team did South-Doyle coach Clark Duncan coach before coming to coach the Cherokees? Know the answer? Tweet it and use the hashtags 5StarLive, and we will randomly select the winner from those with correct answers. Thanks for playing trivia with 5 Star Live and Gold Star Nutrition.
Located in Anderson County, just off of I-75 at exit 122, Rocky Top Realty stands ready to give our clients a real estate experience like no other. While we are located in Anderson County, we work in all of Knoxville and the surrounding areas. Our staff will get to know you and your real estate needs. We will work in tandem with you to achieve your forever home, build site, vacation home, or investment goal. Find us online at rockytophomeinfo.com or give us a call at 865-498-0183.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Since 1945, the John H. Coleman Company has been serving the East Tennessee area. We wouldn't have made it for 75 years without the experience and hard work of our quality employees. When it comes to heating and air conditioning, our goal is to make your experience stress-free, whether buying a new unit or servicing your current equipment. The way we do that is making sure you have the information you need to make the right decision. East Tennessee is our home, too. We've proudly served you for 75 years and look forward to serving you for many years to come. John H. Coleman Company, trusted since 1945.
Welcome back to 5 Star Live. Jesse Smithy along with my co-host Kevin Smith are going to break down tonight's 60-20 win over Sevier County by South-Doyle, and there are a lot of Sevier County fans that might be watching that probably don't want us to break this game down, but it was an impressive showing, and as I've told you, I don't know which South-Doyle team's going to show up sometimes, but over the last 2 weeks, we're starting to see them forge an identity. They had that big comeback win last week over Anderson County, and it was full-fledged South-Doyle tonight.
Well, what we saw the two linebackers that are as good as advertised. We also saw a very active defensive line tonight, and then we saw the emergence of Mr. Gary. And if you don't know that name yet, this is a guy that you're going to want to watch play. He was very exciting and electric tonight. Very hard to bring to the ground. Great vision, has speed to get to the edge, and you're going to see it all throughout these highlights. You're going to see a lot of Mr. Gary, who rushed for over 200 yards tonight.
Yeah, early on, though, they try to get the passing game going. They started working with Terrell Brown, number 1, and Terrell will get the early touchdown here in just a moment. But they didn't show their cards early, though, with Sean Gary, maybe really until about the second or third possession. Yeah,
and I still think they were trying to figure out, was he the guy, and giving him some carries and getting him some touches. And they found out very quickly he was running in between the tackles very well. Great vision. was doing a great job cutting and finding holes, but then also having the speed to get to the edge. And then he has breakaway speed to take it to the house when he gets free into the secondary.
Yeah, the number one's Terrell Brown, and he had a fantastic game tonight, too. A rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, a couple of sacks. He was all over the place tonight. But Sevier County with Colin Shannon at quarterback just really couldn't get much going. South-Doyle, on the other hand, this is Sean Gary, number 21, really a sign of things to come. They call that out of bounds. I believe we went back and checked. He was not out of bounds, but nevertheless, he comes back and gets a touchdown, and it's just from here, it's just off to the races.
Yeah, and they did a good job with outside zone and also running single back power. But again, he showed yards after contact again tonight was huge for Mr. Gary with over 200 yards rushing on 16 carries, but a lot of those were off broken tackles. This guy was breaking tackles all night, and then you can see here the defense. South-Doyle had 3 linebackers I was really impressed with tonight, Jesse, that were running all over the field. They were doing a good job with the speed rush, especially AJ, getting upfield, dipping his shoulder, and getting up into the quarterback's face. Mr. Shannon had no time to throw the football tonight for Sevier County. Good football player, tough kid. He's going to be sore tomorrow because he was on his back all night.
Yeah, but he did a tremendous job running the football tonight. Really got a big chunk of his yardage running the football, but here finds a soft spot in the zone. They get it down into South-Doyle territory. At this point, they're down 19-0. They needed this game or this score right here to just even feel like we're even in this game.
Well, and they did a good job of getting it to 26-13 at the half, and you thought, okay, maybe this is going to be, who's got the ball last? Can the offense, can Sevier County find a way to score enough points? But what you saw, Jesse, and what ended up happening in this football game, they could not stop Mr. Gary and the South-Doyle offense.
And like we talked about at halftime, and even with Clark Duncan, when you look at Sean Gary, it just seems like he oozes natural running back kind of vibes. He just, when you look at him, you're just like, yeah, that guy's a running back. What else would he be?
I agree with you 100%. He looks the part. He showed us the part tonight, and I'm really excited to see his future, and I'm really excited. We actually talked about this. I can't wait to see him also catch the football.
Yeah.
Does he have that ability? They didn't have to run screens tonight. They didn't have to get him the ball out in space. What is that next level for him? Because what we saw tonight is he's a very good running back.
Just a sick catch by Terrell Brown. I mean, if that thing doesn't go viral on social media, then I'm doing social media wrong. And then Preston Sisler here jukes his guy out, gets them down into scoring range again. And it just seems like all of South-Doyle's skill guys were displayed tonight.
Yeah, and the quarterback did a good job of getting some other guys the football. And so that was good to see for South-Doyle. Again, trying to get started, getting clicking. And I know Coach Dunk, I know he said that it's not an excuse not to have scrimmages, but it is truly hard when you've got 4 or 5 guys in different positions, or they're young guys, Jesse, and you're trying to find out how good they are or where they fit in your scheme or on your team. Without live bullets and without getting out here on the lights, it's very hard to find those guys. This is about right. We've talked about it.
Yeah, and I came out to preseason practice at South-Doyle, and half their coaching staff was gone in quarantine because of coronavirus. Basically, all those coaches were offensive coaches. And so you got the defensive guys just trying to get the wheels turning for the offense and keep them active until their coaches can get back. So it's been there were a couple of setbacks for this South-Doyle offense, but here we are in week 5, and they look to be in full stride again, and it's going to be interesting to see them go into the latter half of the season, because all throughout the preseason they were talked about a 5A contender, and then they come out a little slow out of the gates. People might have forgot about them a little bit. They could definitely be, I'm not going to call them a sleeper team, but definitely one of these teams that makes a second half push.
Yeah, and I think for that offensive staff, now finding this young man, Mr. Gary, they've got a big enough offensive line. They've got a quarterback who can throw it, and they've got a defensive line who's active, and they've got linebackers that can play with anybody in the state. So to me, with that secondary, can they shore up and take care of the other team's passing game and tackle well enough in space, and can they continue to push Mr. Gary and find holes for him and get him in the run game?
I want you to put on your defensive coordinator hat. You were a defensive coordinator at various places around the state. If you were scheming up against South-Doyle's offense, how would you stop it?
Well, I think, first of all, you may want to play some man coverage and put a bunch of guys in the box and stop the run first. And then I think another way is if you want to get into cover 4, plays a 9-man box. Again, we consider it getting your safeties downhill. But I think for them, I'm going to force them to throw the football. I'm not going to let Mr. Gary now, from what I've seen on film, beat me with 200 yards rushing. I'm going to make the quarterback beat me.
And that's part of this chess match in football is, okay, now we have an identity. How are teams going to start scheming you? You've been able to sneak up on people because there's not a lot of highlights of Sean Gary out there. Now there are. Now people are going to start scheming against you. What's South-Doyle's next move offensively? And that's why I wanted to ask you that question. What do you think South-Doyle might see defensively in the weeks to come? So we'll kind of keep an eye out on that. And
we've talked about it, Jesse, multiple times on the show. We thought 4 and 5 weeks, we always talk about as coaches, we get so much better from week 1 to week 2, but I think this year you're going to see more week 4 and week 5 where you're finding players that you didn't get to see in the preseason that are going to find their way on the field and become stars. And if I'm South-Doyle, I'll be ready. I mean, if I'm the quarterback, and he's a good player. Yeah. I'm excited to see him play, but I'd be ready to see more loaded boxes and forcing South-Doyle to throw the football.
Nevertheless, an impressive win tonight by South-Doyle, 60-20 over Sevier County. Hey, thanks to everybody who's already responded to our trivia question. We're going to announce a winner later on in the show. For now, we're going to take one more quick break. When we come back, we're going to the Waffle House hotline. We're going to be joined by Central football coach Nick Craney. They have a massive showdown against Powell tomorrow, a matchup of top 5 teams in the state. It's going to be televised. We'll be joined by Nick Craney right after this.
Cooper Container, your corrugated packaging specialist for the East Tennessee area. Proud sponsor of high school sports in the 5-star preps coverage area.
Great ones make the plays. The dedicated ones never quit. Weekend warrior or professional, all athletes get hurt. And when you do, Tennessee Orthopedic Clinic's comprehensive sports medicine team is ready to take you on. The power of results.
I think it's great. I mean, I love worshiping and learning about God and learning better ways to be a man of God.
There's no way that you can come here and your relationship with Jesus and not get stronger. It's just so powerful. The Holy Spirit is just so powerful at this camp.
I just feel like this is a lot more than just like people coming together and having fun. Like, it just helps people go through Christ.
Welcome back, everybody, to 5-Star Live here from South-Doyle High School, where the Cherokees won 60-20 over Sevier County. We now go to the Waffle House hotline. We are joined by Central football coach Nick Craney. Nick, thanks so much for staying up with us tonight. I know you guys don't have a game. You probably want to get a little bit of rest. You got one big one tomorrow against Powell High School. And first question is really, how have you guys gone about preparing for this game, given that it was announced on Wednesday? That's not a big allotment of days to prepare for this game.
Yeah, that was one of the big things in trying to figure out, Tuesday when we had our game canceled for Friday, our Seymour game. It didn't take long to kind of get Powell on our radar. But one of the things that was important to me was to see if we could push it one extra day to a Saturday game, because I think that extra day of preparation has been really good for our kids. And I think it's something that we needed to have to be ready to play this game.
But they had been on TV a little bit already before, so I mean, did you kind of have a general idea what you were going to see out of Powell before you really started breaking down schematics for them?
I've seen them play once this year on TV, and we watched them closely last year, and we never had a chance to play. But generally there was some stuff that we knew schematically that they were going to be doing. But it has been an interesting week and definitely kind of out of the norm in the sense of, game planning and trying to get film together and shared with the kids and everything, all on an accelerated schedule. But our kids have done a really good job of buying into realizing the the sense of urgency that's necessary with a short week like this.
I know you have a Twitter account. I don't know how much you're on social media, given that you're a teacher and a father and a coach, but when this game was announced, it really moved the needle. And there are a lot of people excited about this football game. Could you sense that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely going to be an exciting game, and that's one of the things from our, as the head coach and the message to the kids is, all the noise and all of the excitement about the game and all of the talk that can happen on social media. None of that does anything for the game and does anything for them. We talked about the team that's going to be successful tomorrow is the team that can pay attention to the details and prepare best in a short week scenario, and can go out there and execute without making mistakes. And so, that's been our focus to really nail down on some things from a preparation standpoint, and to be out there, to be ready to get out there and go play mistake-free football.
When you look at this matchup on paper, it comes across as Central's defense versus Powell's offense. When you look at the Powell offense and they have 4 or 5 wide receivers that can really make big plays at any time, and they have a young quarterback, but he's making plays and delivering in the clutch. What do you see out of this Powell offense? And is there a team during your time as defensive coordinator at Central that you could liken them to?
That's a good question. They have playmakers all over the place, and I've been really impressed with the quarterback. I don't know that there's a specific team that they remind me of, but they really do a good job. Quarterback does a good job of putting the ball in good spots. He gives their playmakers an opportunities to go make plays. And so from our standpoint, whether it's doing a really good job in coverage to not be able to allow him to put the ball in those spots, or doing a good job in getting pressure to force him to not be able to make those throws. I think there's definitely going to be a challenge for us this week, and it's something our kids are excited about trying to meet that challenge.
You guys obviously brought in a new offense coordinator this year. You have a new quarterback this year in Ryan Bolton, who was your punter last year, and he's still a standout punter. But when you assess his play and Liam Fortner as a Wildcat quarterback, just where are you guys at quarterback-wise, and how proud are you of that development?
Yeah, we've come a long way, and Ryan has done a really good job so far. Ryan Bolton has, he's six touchdowns and 1 interception, and really what we have asked of him is to make good decisions. With what we're doing in our new offensive scheme, he's reading pre-snap, post-snap, and having to make decisions on the fly. And he's done a good job of making the right decision almost always. And so, we're proud of him for that. He's still got room to grow, and as a junior, we're excited to see where he can grow into. And then, when Liam gets back there, in the Wildcat look, I know that just gives us a whole different dimension, and that's been great for us as well.
I know coaches like to talk to each other. They like to maybe try to learn tips on how to defend certain types of teams or how to play certain types of teams, given the nature of this game and how quickly it came about with Powell. Have you called on any old friends, Bryson Rosser, anybody in your college days to really kind of learn as much as you can?
I've had several conversations this week with several people, and honestly, the first conversation was, hey, it's not often you have a game canceled on you, but in this season that is not so uncommon, I guess. But just trying to navigate, scheduling, having a game canceled and then trying to find a new game, and ultimately, getting this one scheduled. So I from just even a scheduling standpoint, reaching out to Bryson Rosser and to other mentors of mine, just to say, hey, what do you do? How do you navigate it? What's your thought process? But from a game planning standpoint, I think that there are some things that I was able to learn from Coach Larry Slade, who's at Carson Newman now, that we haven't talked specifically about this one, but there's some things that he and I have talked about recently that I think are going to help us in this one.
All right. Well, I'm not going to put you on the spot. I'm not going to ask you what those things are. Don't want to give away the game plan.
Yeah.
But Nick, thanks so much again for staying up with us tonight. Again, I know you got a newborn in the house and a big game tomorrow, and so I appreciate you cutting out a few minutes of your night and doing this for us.
Jesse, I appreciate you having me on.
All right, absolutely. That's Nick Craney, head football coach at Central High School. Undefeated this year, in the top 10 in the state. So was Powell High School. So big game coming up tomorrow night. It'll be televised. I believe Diamond Clear Media, Rivalry Thursday crew will be carrying it as well on my VLT. So if you didn't get a ticket to that, check that out at 7:30 tomorrow night. All right, we're going to catch a break. We come back. We're going to announce our trivia winner. We're going to take a look at some highlights and some scores from around the area. Don't go anywhere. 5 Star Live presented by John H. Coleman.
Located in Anderson County, just off of I-75 at exit 122, Rocky Top Realty stands ready to give our clients a real estate experience like no other. While we are located in Anderson County, we work in all of Knoxville and the surrounding areas. Our staff will get to know you and your real estate needs. We will work in tandem with you to achieve your forever home, build site, vacation home, or investment goal. Find us online at rockytophomeinfo.com or give us a call at 865-498-0183.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Since 1945, the John H. Coleman Company has been serving the East Tennessee area. We wouldn't have made it for 75 years without the experience and hard work of our quality employees. When it comes to heating and air conditioning, our goal is to make your experience stress-free, whether buying a new unit or servicing your current equipment. The way we do that is making sure you have the information you need to make the right decision. East Tennessee is our home, too. We've proudly served you for 75 years and look forward to serving you for many years to come. John H. Coleman Company, trusted since 1945.
Thank you to John H. Coleman for making 5 Star Live possible. Week 5 edition, again from South-Doyle, where the Cherokees won 60-20 over Sevier County. Let's take a look around the area. We're going to start out tonight over in West Knoxville in the Cedar Bluff area, as Catholic basically had a 3-week break after playing Trinity Christian on that Saturday on ESPN. Now they welcome in McCallie. What do you think they got tonight out of McCallie?
Well, I think they got the defending state champions and both teams with a lot of skill on the field tonight at the skill position players. So I think what you saw tonight was Catholic having some rust. That is a very tough spot to be in, to be out for 3 weeks. But I think what you see here is they got some good offensive players, and that's your guy right there.
Yeah, Sam O'Leary, number 6, the young guy.
Yeah, and I think for Catholic, they've got to shore up their defense if they're going to be a contender in Division II AAA, because with this loss tonight, they're now 0-1 in the league, still with Innsworth, Brentwood Academy, and Baylor on the schedule, and all those teams feel like they've got a chance to contend for a state championship as well.
McCallie, you see the running back there. I know that's a player you're pretty familiar with.
Yeah, he's a very good player, and a guy that's, he runs for over 100 every game.
Yeah.
They're very large up front, McCallie is. I'm actually shocked that McCallie lost to Brentwood Academy a couple of weeks ago to be 0-1 in the league. So this is a big bounce-back win for them as well.
Catholic was actually down 28-14 in the first half, battle back to not to score at 28-all, and McCullough ends up going ahead and winning that football game 45-31. A positive that Catholic can take away from this game is the return of Tommy Winton, number 7, a junior who has SEC offers. Nicholas Iverson takes this to the house here, and he's one of the faster players around. But you're going to see Tommy Winton with the touchdown catch here in just a moment, and they got to have that guy healthy for the duration of this season. He had a hamstring issue that kind of hampered him through the first few weeks of the season, and he came back and had over 100 yards receiving in the first half tonight.
And I know everybody's been excited about him, including yourself. And so to get another playmaker back for Caden Martin, it never hurts to have more depth out on the outside with athletes. So that's a good sign for Catholic to get him back. Can they keep him healthy? Can they shore up the defense secondary-wise into the linebacker position? And can you don't want to get in the playoffs, Jesse, where you have to outscore your opponent. As the weather changes, that is a tough deal. It's really tough to outscore your opponent each and every week and not have your defense step up for you.
Yeah, but those two guys, Caden Martin and Tommy Winton, really special quarterback-receiver connection, and we'll see if it can kind of pay off going forward. But, again, McCullough gets the win tonight, 45-31 at Catholic High School, and not a welcome sight back for Catholic. Let's go ahead and move on to our Farragut game. Farragut gets the win tonight, 45-14 over Morristown West, and everybody on that Farragut roster playing for Eddie Courtney tonight.
Yeah, it's just tough news, and it's really tough news for a leader like Coach Courtney, who's been around forever, is a leader of men, and a guy that is very respected in the community. We wish him the best, and hopefully he can get back soon and coach this football team.
Absolutely. Dawson Moore, number 6, the quarterback, had himself a night tonight, 321 yards passing, 6 touchdowns passing, and Eli Purcell right here, the big guy, delivering some punishment and hits. And this Farragut team, even though they did not show well in that Week 2 loss over West High School, where their offense did just nothing, has really bounced back the last few weeks. Matt White had a monster game a week ago against Oak Ridge, and then tonight in the first half, he had 119 yards receiving, and they showed some other guys besides Matt White tonight as well.
Yeah, and I think what we're starting to see is that West defense may be the real deal. And so what you see there is Farragut coming out again, no scrimmages, no opportunities to play against live bullets, them getting in a rhythm here, and they've got some pieces, Jesse, to be very dangerous.
This Delaney, the young running back at Morristown West, his brother was a star there, went on to play for Wake Forest, but too much Farragut tonight. They win 45-14, and Dawson Moore just had it working with all of his receivers, and an emotional night for sure for Farragut High School. You saw the ribbons there at the opening of the package that all the players wore on the back of their helmet. I know the student section kind of changed their colors to represent the support for prostate cancer, and that's what Eddie Courtney is battling. So certainly wish Eddie Courtney and his family, his friends, everybody involved with the Farragut High School football program all the best. And I know that guy is going to kick cancer's butt. He's done it once before.
And he's a battler, and that's what he's going to do, and we know that he's going to do that. And I love seeing the players in the student section and the community. Again, we've talked about this before, Jesse. This isn't just to get the football players back on the field this year. Right. This is a community event for everybody, and it's good to see the community coming together for Coach Courtney.
You mentioned the West defense, and let's go ahead and roll the highlights last night. West High School gets a big win, 22-7 over Oak Ridge on Thursday night on Rivalry Thursday, and this game was billed to be Oak Ridge running back Kendall Jackson versus West High School running back Isaiah Mattress. Well, Kendall Jackson's coming off of an injury. Isaiah Mattress isn't 100% either, and this ended up being kind of a knock-it-out slugfest.
Yeah, and we've talked about Oak Ridge. Their Achilles heel for them is going to be, can they throw the ball enough to open up holes and make the defense be honest with Kendall Jackson. And we saw the other night that they could not do that. West has shown that they are a very good defensive football team. And what we've seen from Farragut the last couple of weeks shows even more of how well and how good this West defense is.
You see Isaiah Mattress take it in there, number 2, and he's a senior running back and 6'2", 220 pounds. But they just kind of used him sparingly last night. This is really about the stable of running backs that West has. It wasn't just Isaiah Mattress. It was Jai Hunley, number 7. It was Trayvon Barfield, number 5, who you saw. And then that West defense only allowed 51 yards of total offense last night. They had 3 interceptions, 2 by that young man, number 43, last name Warren. And This is, I think, 3 weeks in a row now that this West High School defense has kind of dominated defensively, but you don't hear much about it because it's always about Alcoa's defense that's so special.
Yeah, and hey, respectfully so. I mean, Alcoa has shown, and they even proved again against Maryville how great they are and can continue to become with some of their young guys getting even better. But what I like about West is they're able to throw the football. They've got a big running back in Mathers that they can put in the goal line if they need to, even when he's hurt. They've got another couple of pieces that they can put out there to have running back by committee. And then not only are they flying around on defensively, but they're causing turnovers. And when you cause turnovers, it's demoralizing for the other team's offense, and you're putting your offense in good field position to score more points.
But it was just kind of a tough night to watch in terms of overall product. There was some rain that came into the area, and I don't know if it kind of created wet balls or whatever for them to deal with. Some bad snaps, as you're going to see here coming up in just a second, kind of crept up in both teams. And both teams marches down the field. I believe there it goes right there, and pretty much negated a really good opportunity for West. They end up kicking a field goal with Tyson Seaby. But by the end of the night, their defense continues to take over, and they're just another one of these 5A football teams that's right up there with Central, that's right up there with Powell, with South-Doyle, that we're going to have to keep an eye on as we start getting closer to October.
Yeah, and I think that's really exciting for Knoxville area football. That 5A football here in Knoxville has got so many teams, and we've talked about it. We're going to see some squirrely scores. We're going to see some guys in and out of the lineup. We're going to see teams getting better week 4 and week 5 as they find other players to help their football team. This is going to get really interesting in 5A football, and we've got some pretty good defenses. Which defense can really buckle down and find a way to slow down the other team's offense?
And we can't put too much emphasis on what happens in the regular season matchup. I know you weren't here last year. West and Powell played just an absolute beast of a game in the regular season. Powell ended up winning that, stopping a 2-point conversion, and then turn around in the playoff. West comes back and wins. So you can't put all your eggs in the regular season basket. There's going to be some big 5A matchups coming up soon, but they might see each other again.
Well, I can tell you this. It's hard to win anyway. All wins are good wins because it's hard to win. It is really hard to beat a team twice.
Yeah.
And when you're having these rematches because these teams are so good and they're winning in their region against the other side of the bracket, we're going to have some really fun, interesting matchups as we get through the playoffs this year.
Let me ask you this, and this is something I've always wondered, especially when you know there's a good possibility you might see a team a second time. Do you purposefully or intentionally sit on some stuff and not show all your cards? Or do you try to go out and win that game and win the region championship?
Well, I think some coaches would say maybe they hold some stuff back in the sense that maybe they're not ready, their team's not ready for that part of the playbook. But I'll tell you this, you're showing your cards to win the football game. You're trying to get that number 1 seed. You want home field throughout the playoffs. And then as whatever your team can handle, you add a few wrinkles here and there. But at the end of the day, Jesse, you better be great at something, not good or average at a lot of things. So what you'll see coaches do is a few wrinkles here and there in that second matchup. But at the end of the day, sometimes you are who you are, and you better be great at what you're doing.
Hey, let's announce our trivia winner tonight. The question was, where did South-Doyle football coach Clark Duncan coach before he came to coach the Cherokees? That answer is Powell High School. Our winner tonight on social media was Matt Rimmer at MLR_66. Make sure you reach out to Gold Star Nutrition. Get your prize pack. I know Jared's going to hook you up with something nice. So congratulations, Matt Rimmer. It's the first winner that I didn't know.
Yeah, we were shocked. We actually asked, Did you know him? No, I didn't know.
I don't pay my friends to watch the show and answer the questions. So, but
I thought you were texting your friends saying, here's the answer, man. Come on.
Allegedly. Matt Rimmer is our winner tonight. So congratulations, Matt. Let's continue to look around the area tonight. Elizabethton gets a big win, 63-16. They stay undefeated, the defending state champions in 4A. Shout out to Claiborne High School. The Bulldogs are 4-0. They won 48-7 tonight over Unicoi County. Storm Livesey. Is it Livesey? Livesey? How do y'all say it? Y'all are from East Tennessee. Livesay.
I'm going to leave it to you boys to try to get that one.
I'm sorry, Storm. We'll just call him Storm. 187 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. Shout out Claiborne High School. We'll be reaching out to you guys and learning a little bit more about your football team. Maybe even get Storm up for Player of the Week. Coalfield wins tonight over Oakdale, 44-12. Greenville finally gets the win for Eddie Spradlin. They knock off Austin East 42-0. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, they just need to get back on track, and we've talked about this. They've got some offensive studs to get them going. If they can get the defense back and get going and get some guys back in the lineup, I think Greenville's still going to be the Greenville that we've known about.
Fulton gets the win over Carnes, and Fulton did not have quarterback Tommy Sweat. Some of this coronavirus contact tracing held him out of the game. They held one of his linemen out of the game, and they were still able to win convincingly tonight, 47-7. So shout out Fulton. Anderson County goes 2 quarterbacks tonight with Stone Hatmaker, Walker Martinez, 42-0 win over Howard. So we'll see if they continue to play both guys or maybe they settle with one guy. But they decided to shake things up tonight, so we'll keep an eye on that. Oliver Springs finally gets that big win over Greenback that they've been wanting for so long, and they get that 21-7. And there's been quotes out there in the media from Greenback's side saying, hey, it's not a rivalry until they beat us. Well, tonight Oliver Springs did that.
Yeah, I know, and I know we've got some guys back here in the back that are very excited about this, and we were keeping a close eye on it all night, so good job to Oliver Springs.
Meigs County wins 67-21 over Rockwood. McMinn County comes into Blount County and puts up a ton of points, 63-32 over William Blount. I'd hate to type out that box score, 95 points. Loudon wins 55-21 over Signal Mountain. Kingston gets a really emotional win tonight, 32-6 over Northview. Kingston head football coach Brian Pankey lost his mother today, and that was the program's biggest supporter. From what I'm told, she was an amazing lady, would cook meals for all the teams, some of the soul food meals that they're accustomed to, and that she would cook for her son. She would share that with the team, and everybody loved her. And I texted Brian Pankey today and just shared our sentiments with him. And so I know this is a tough night for everybody around Kingston football, but glad that they got a win for him.
Yeah, and it's really fun to see that, and kids coming out. You know, we all have some emotions, and it's hard sometimes for the kids, but to see them battle through that and come out with a win for him, and for him to experience that is a great thing.
Maybe the shock of the night for a half was Maryville 7, Bearden 0 at half. Bearden had multiple chances to score in that first half against Maryville inside the 10-yard line a couple of times in that first half. Maryville, though, comes out, puts on the pressure in the second half. Parker McGill, their running back, who both of us like a lot, ended up rushing for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that final score is Maryville 28-0, but maybe a first half letdown after that Alcoa win.
Yeah, I think a couple things. We're really seeing Maryville's defense as a bend don't break defense. They've done that all year. They're starting to show us that's who they are, and they're giving up yardage 20-20 inside the 20s, but they're buckling down inside the red zone. They're either causing turnovers or getting fourth down stops. And I think for Coach Hunt, you know, they really thought they had some teaching moments last week offensively, and I think you saw that again in the second half. I'm looking forward actually to asking him what he thought about the first half with what they saw last week and some teaching moments they had against a great Alcoa football team. But make no mistake, when you put that kind of energy mentally and physically into a game like Alcoa, there is a little bit of a letdown sometimes the following week because of how physical football is, both mentally and physically. It is hard to get up emotionally each and every week. So it's not shocking they had that, but it's also a sign of a good football team, Jesse. They came out in the second half and righted the ship.
And that's a Bearden program that, remember, missed their first couple of games of the year because of COVID-19 and the fact that they could even be in that game against Maryville. I know they're probably not going to preach moral victories, but you got to definitely take something away if you're Bearden High School. Alcoa did not have a letdown tonight, 42-0 win over Pigeon Forge. And the big news of the day as we close the show, Halls High School put on red. That means they are not allowed to do any type of sports activities until they resume in-class learning. I believe that's on October 5th on a Monday. That means the big Emory Road battle, the battle for Emory Road between Halls and Powell is off. That means Halls versus Central is off. That's the Battle of Black Oak Ridge. 2 big rivalry games stripped from us.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. And I really hope we can figure out this contact tracing stuff, to be real honest with you. So I hope we can find a way to get them back, and maybe there'll be some people who can get together and find a way to get Halls back on the field. But, yes, those are the type of games that you don't want to see kids, especially the seniors, who they have been waiting for their opportunity to play in these type of rivalry games. You hope we can find a way. and we can find a way through some of this contact tracing to get these kids back on the field.
And it's not just football. It has a ripple effect that goes through all their sports. And Halls High School Golf is one of the better programs in the state. They have their district tournament next week. That means their kids can't play. That means their kids can't progress through the postseason. And we're used to seeing Halls High School Golf at the state tournament. So I want to pass along all my well wishes and condolences really to all the Halls athletics programs, and hopefully, like Kevin said, something gets figured out. You guys can get back on the field because it's happened before.
Absolutely.
Remember, Carnes was put on, not put on red as a school, but their football program was taken off the board really, and then they learned a few more things and got them back out on the field. So maybe something can happen. We'll keep our fingers crossed. But for Kevin Smith, I'm Jesse Smith. I want to thank everybody for watching 5 Star Live tonight. Thank you to South-Doyle High School for hosting us, and thank you to John H. Coleman for being our title sponsor of the show. Thank y'all for tuning in, and catch us next week right here on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube on 5 Star Live.
Located in Anderson County, just off of I-75 at exit 122, Rocky Top Realty stands ready to give our clients a real estate experience like no other. While we are located in Anderson County, we work in all of Knoxville and the surrounding areas. Our staff will get to know you and your real estate needs. We will work in tandem with you to achieve your forever home, build site, vacation home, or investment goal. Find us online at rockytophomeinfo.com or give us a call at 865-498-0813.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Since 1945, the John H. Coleman Company has been serving the East Tennessee area. We wouldn't have made it for 75 years without the experience and hard work of our quality employees. When it comes to heating and air conditioning, our goal is to make your experience stress-free, whether buying a new unit or servicing your current equipment. The way we do that is making sure you have the information you need to make the right decision. East Tennessee is our home, too. We've proudly served you for 75 years and look forward to serving you for many years to come. John H. Coleman Company, trusted since 1945.
The great ones make the plays. The dedicated ones never quit. Weekend warrior or professional, all athletes get hurt. And when you do, Tennessee Orthopedic Clinic's comprehensive sports medicine team is ready to take you on. The power of results.